Good evening and welcome to those of you who are joining us here in Brussels and those of you who are joining us online. My name is Martin Penny and I'm the Head of Communication at the Executive Agency for the European Research Council. And it's my pleasure to be your host and the moderator this evening. Let me give you a little context to this evening. As you know, in the European Research Council, we fund hundreds of researchers across Europe on an annual basis. Researchers who have their projects selected on a Europe-wide competition of the best ideas. In addition to their research, which generates new knowledge and pushes back the frontier of knowledge, they also have research which will lead to impact, which will have and it will lead to improvement in our quality of life, our health, our environment, our climate, transport and energy systems, to societies and our economies. In addition to carrying out their excellent research, many of our researchers go above and beyond in involving and engaging the public through citizen science initiatives, which are embedded in their research and form their research methodology, to public outreach, to involving journalists, liaising with schools, with museums, with politicians, and with policymakers. And their ingenuity, creativity, commitment, and sheer hard work to reach out and engage diverse audiences are really inspiring. And that's what the Public Engagement in Research Awards are all about, to recognize and to celebrate their achievements. This is the third edition of the ERC Public Engagement in Research Award. This year, 99 of our grantees submitted applications from 20 different countries, and many of them are here tonight sitting in this section in front of me. I'd like to thank you all for your really inspiring work. From these 99, an expert jury selected 6 winners, and they will be announced shortly. They will be announced live. None of the people in the room besides my team and the jury members know who the winners are. Now, as you know, in the European Research Council, it is the Scientific Council which set the policy for the ERC and decide how that's implemented through calls for proposals. And I'm delighted to invite Professor Maria Leptin, who is the president of the Scientific Council of the ERC, to come to the stage and explain the Scientific Council's views on the importance of public engagement in research. Maria, if you'd like to join us.
Ladies and gentlemen, fellow scientists and highly cherished ERC grantees, good evening and a warm welcome. As Martin says, this is the third edition of the ERC Public Engagement with Research Award, and I'm really glad to see so many of you here. And while I don't see you online, I'm happy to have you here as well. So this evening, the engaging and creative side of science is in the limelight, and you'll see in a moment why limelight is particularly apt term. Namely, because we are here gathered in this listed building, the Plaza Hotel here in Brussels, a historic place of culture, creativity, and art, so befitting already. But this is a wonderful form of cinema. So what better to celebrate communication of science? The topic of the ceremony is really dear to me, and it's just wonderful to see top researchers not only shine in their own academic fields, of course you all do, but also show a genuine passion for engaging with a broader audience. And this, in turn, inspires others, and we hope that it does inspire others. And that's, in fact, as Martin just said, one of the main motivations behind why the ERC Scientific Council established this award. The first one was in 2020 at the height of the COVID pandemic. And those were difficult and testing times that really exposed how science can and must engage citizens, and how important it is for the scientific community to go out there and connect with society at large. I'm deliberately not saying explain, because is there a term scientist-splaining? There's mansplaining,
Yeah,
but
should
the
be.
same goes for scientists.
Should be.
That's not what's wanted. It's the kind of engagement that you do that is what's effective and appreciated. So it's really a great pleasure to celebrate with you tonight all the ERC grantees who exemplify the spirit of this award. And I say all because I don't know who's won it, so I'm as curious as you to find out who the winners are. And I'm honest, I'm true. And our comms department on this case has been very good about not communicating. No secrets are ever kept in the European Commission, but this one has. So what I do know is that all of you have gone the extra mile by sharing your knowledge and your passion for science beyond your communities, your direct scientific communities, and beyond your labs and libraries and research groups. You've made the effort to interact with non-scientists, non-researchers in a whole range of innovative ways. And all of this, of course, resonates with the ERC's ambition to promote not only cutting-edge research, but also a broader appreciation of science and research, and helping to bridge some of the gap between science and society. We need the support of the public, and we need their trust in research and the methods of research, the essence of research in general. So going out to try and get an appreciation and engagement with your science, and engaging with different audiences, children, students, people from all walks of life, you all do different things, is really essential. And what's more, we should not forget that engaging with politicians so they fully appreciate the value of science is equally important. And I think they too appreciate the kind of work you do. So there are enough reasons to continue to engage and enthuse a broad audience with your research. And before I hand over to Martin again, let me warmly thank the jury and everyone involved in selecting you and making this event happen for their hard work. So I hope now we're looking forward to an inspiring evening. Actually, I don't hope. I know for sure we're looking forward to an inspiring evening celebrating your work and your efforts in communicating it. So thank you very much for being here and for having engaged.
Thank you. Thank you, Maria, for your inspiring words and setting the scene well for our event this evening. Now, I know you're all waiting for the announcement of the awards, but bear with me a little longer, because public engagement and science communication is the theme of our event today. And so before we get to the announcement of the awards, I'd like to introduce two people who are passionate about their science and about sharing their fascination with science with a broader audience. So please join me in welcoming to the stage Dr. Emma Osborne, who is a lecturer in theoretical astrophysics at the University of York, whose work on explaining complex physics topics in an accessible way has led to her being an award-winning science communicator. She's a popular YouTube channel and is active on explaining science on Instagram and TikTok. Emma, if you'd like to come to the stage. Thanks, Emma. Good to see you again. Thank you. Have a seat. And then secondly, Professor Luke O'Neill, who is a member of the ERC Scientific Council and a professor of biochemistry at University College Dublin. Luke's a renowned immunologist and is an avid science communicator. He has a weekly slot on Irish radio and he's published several popular science books. Luke, if you'd like to join us on the stage. Thanks again. Thanks. Please take a seat. So Luke and Emma, I think our audience would welcome hearing some of your experience in science communication and public engagement. And as you know, we have an audience of scientists tonight, both here in person and online. And of course, there is a broader audience as well that's listening to us in the room and online. Perhaps you can share with them your 2 top approaches to make science more engaging for everyone. Emma, perhaps if you'd like to start first of all. It'll come on for you directly.
Okay, thank you. So my favorite type of science communication is the type that you don't really know that it's happening. It's almost so organic. And to be able to do that, you really need a strong narrative and to tell a story. And that way you can just, I don't know, I just think it makes it such a fun way instead of, it's as you were saying on stage, we don't want to explain, we're not science explainers. I really like that term. It's more about having a conversation, and if you can make it engaging, it's almost entertainment. It's not like something you have to know. And I think that just makes it a very positive experience.
Luke, from your side, as you say, having a good story, making it entertaining, what else would you?
Yep, storytelling. But it's great to be here, by the way, Martin. Thanks for inviting me. And you're all waiting to hear who's won, right? So we're getting in the way of the announcement. It's pretty tough talking about science communication to an audience of science communicators, isn't it? That's a bit of a...
We've set you a hard task, yes.
For me, personally, it has to be fun, actually. You've got to enjoy it. You know, if you're not enjoying it, then maybe you shouldn't be doing it. So whatever you do, and it's so important, remember, now more than ever, we need great engagement. And I must say, tonight is a fantastic example, and I know who the winners are, don't I, Martin?
You do.
And we can hold our heads up high, the ERC and European science. These are fantastic examples of public engagement, as you'll hear, and I'm so proud of everybody, really, is the thing to say. And from the examples and the winners, you clearly had fun doing it, and some of them are very serious, of course, which is extremely important as well. But if you don't have fun while you're doing it, that's one concern. But my first piece of real advice is, you got to do podcasts. Let's start with that. Now, it sounds like Emma is under the, I don't want to ask you what your age is, but nobody under 30 reads a newspaper. Nobody under 30 listens to the radio. This is true, right? Nobody watches TV anymore. Honest, that generation doesn't do that. They listen to podcasts. So my advice is to everybody, try and get a podcast. You'll reach a lot more people that way. It's a very free format. I've got a podcast. You can interview people and all kinds of things. So piece of advice number 1 from me is try to get podcasts, because then you'll reach the very audience we want to reach. The audience you want to reach, actually, are people under 30, I think. They're the next generation. They're the ones who are so engaging with this. It's a fantastic group to talk to. So podcasts, I think, is my advice.
So fun, having a good narrative, and podcasts. What else would be your top tips?
Make it relatable. It's such a simple thing to kind of come up with, but it's actually a very hard thing to do. But it's so important, because if you can make your research relatable to your audience, they're more likely to be engaged and have an interest. You know, just because you love something doesn't mean somebody else does. So how can you persuade them to see your passion through your eyes? And a really easy way to do that is to make it relatable.
So Luke, you talked about how people under 30 don't read newspapers, don't watch TV. Clearly, the way in which we communicate in the digital age is changing. So how do we make science engagement and public engagement, science communication and public engagement for the digital age? What are the best ways of doing it?
It's a moving target. It keeps changing. TikTok, as Emma knows, is fantastic at the moment. That might change. Having a YouTube channel, that sounds brilliant as well, for example, you know. But it's all online. Everything's online now. It's not easy, Martin. It is something that everybody should think about. How will I engage with this new way of communicating? It's so different. Like, I grew up in an age when people did read newspapers or did watch the evening news, and lots of people don't anymore, you know. So think these innovative approaches are essential, I think. The other thing is, now the trouble is, you've got to get through to the media and excite them. Mm-hmm. And the media they're constantly bombarded with various things, you know. You need an angle to excite the editor of whatever it might be, or whoever's in charge of the outlet you're trying to approach. So again, imagination seems to me to be a key trait. Don't forget us scientists are extremely imaginative people, even though the general public don't think that. Some of my most creative friends are scientists, you know. So use your imagination in a way that might grasp the attention is a key thing as well, obviously, you know.
Thanks. Emma, you're the expert here with your Instagram channel, TikTok. Tell us, what would be your top tips in terms of how science communication, public engagement is changing?
Okay, so I'd say social media is an excellent tool to reach a broad audience. Many people have it in their pocket. And actually, social media is built in a way to make you addicted to it. That's what the like button is all about. So if you can get engagement through social media, that's amazing. The huge hurdle you have to overcome is that social media is a business. And it's driven by algorithms. And those algorithms will only show content that is engaging, okay? And what's engaging to us in real life versus what's engaging to us on our phones is actually quite different, especially when you're being dictated what is engaging. And engagement online, particularly with algorithms, is about likes, comments. And the best way to do that is through controversy. So if you want to communicate science through an algorithm that loves controversy, you kind of have to be a bit bombastic to kind of overcome and compete with all the other content that's going on out there. Otherwise, you're just going to kind of, in a lot of ways, be preaching to the choir. You may not get the kind of reach that you're after. The real huge downside to that is if it's controversial, and I don't mean our science, there are other topics online that are controversial are conspiracy theories. And that's what you're going to be competing against. And this is why in this age of information, fake news is a real issue, and misinformation spreads so much quicker than actual scientific fact. So you're already everybody else, kind of the conspiracies and the things that you as researchers and your truths, you're kind of behind. Everybody's already got a head start in the race of reaching people. And not only are you behind them trying to reach them, you then want to kind of change a perspective. It's so easy for the human brain, I don't know the psychology of this, to buy into the idea that, say, the moon landing didn't happen, than to just accept that it did and what that can mean for us. So I think the headline takeaway is digital social media communication can be absolutely fantastic and a very powerful tool, but it's very, very challenging to actually be successful at that, especially in a way that as individual researchers, if you choose that avenue, you will be exposed to negative behavior directly online, and that is exhausting. And if there's anything that will destroy your passion, that would be it. So it's a great tool, but the caution must be exercised.
Now, I think we could have a conversation about this all night. But in the room here, there's many people that are waiting for us to move on to the next part of the ceremony and announce who the winners are. So I would like to thank you for those insights. I'm sure this will lead to conversations at the end of the ceremony with many people, particularly wanting to learn from you and from the great examples that you are in terms of science communicators and public engagement. But if I could ask you all to thank Emma and Luke for their presence this evening and for those top tips. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we're now approaching the key part of tonight's ceremony, the announcement of the 6 winners of the 2024 Public Engagement in Research Award. And as you can imagine, choosing the top 6 projects from the incredible submissions we received was really not an easy job. Firstly, I'd like to thank the staff from the European Research Council Executive Agency and some of our colleagues from the Health and Digital Executive Agency who are involved. And I would also like to introduce the members of this year's jury for the award who had this really tough job of selecting the winners. They are all experts in science communication and public engagement in research. And I'd like to congratulate and thank them for the fantastic work they've carried out in reviewing the proposals and choosing the 6 winners. Let me introduce them to you. And I'm delighted that some of the jury members are here with us this evening, and they will announce the names of the winners. They'll join me on the stage in just a few minutes. But bear with me just a few more before we announce the winners. Before we move on to that highlight of today, let's take a moment to show you the winners of the last 2 editions of this award.
My name's Anna Davis, and I'm the Principal Investigator of CEST.
I'm Kostas Nikolopoulos. I'm an experimental particle physicist and a professor of physics here at the University of Birmingham.
I'm Eric Van Sebeel. I'm an oceanographer at Utrecht University.
I realized that art and science have more in common than I may have thought.
We need to engage. We need to engage with the public.
We'll experience things you've never experienced before, but this will bring untold benefits.
My name is Mariska Kret. I work as a professor at the Cognitive Psychology Unit of Leiden University.
I'm Jonathan Tennyson, Massey Professor of Physics at University College London.
I'm Alpa Shah. I'm a Professor of Anthropology at the London School of Economics and Political Science.
I think the engagement of wider communities is really important.
Involving the general public who are not deeply into the scientific content.
Getting them involved in leading research projects to try and raise their aspirations.
I sought to raise public awareness, challenge misunderstandings.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time to reveal this year's winners, which we'll announce live. As I said, none of the applicants have been informed in advance. There are 6 prizes, and all are equal winners. The winners will receive a prize award of €10,000, and of course, the prestige of being a European Research Council Public Engagement in Research Award winner. We've invited all of the applicants to join us today here in the room. Many of them are here in the room, so others are following us online. But before starting the announcements, I'd like to invite Maria Leptin, the Scientific Council President, back on stage before the announcement of the winners. Maria, I know there's some words that you'd like to say to the applicants first.
Well, first of all, really, I would like to thank you all again. And regardless of whether you're winning this prize or not, what you're doing is mega important. Actually, if I may comment on the discussion just now, it's very interesting dichotomy between communication and engagement. We heard about communication.
Indeed.
And of course, what most of you do is engagement. So that was interesting, and maybe will lead into interesting discussions afterwards.
Indeed.
Anyway, thanks to all. I still don't know who the winners are, so my thanks and congratulations go to all of you.
Thank you, Maria. Maria, if you could come and join me here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it really is time. So the awards will be announced by the jury members. So firstly, I would like to invite Anna Godinho to the stage. Anna is a guest researcher at the University of Zurich. Anna, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Martin. Good evening, everyone. So, this winning project promoted a national debate around and about gender-based violence, with the goal of changing the narrative from an isolated individual phenomenon to a social and even public health issue. It was able to foster a deeper public understanding of gender-based violence and had an impact on society and intervention practices. The jury was very impressed by how, through well-implemented outreach activities, the project sparked extensive interest across Ireland, influenced parliamentary debates and public services, ultimately even leading to the creation of a statutory agency to tackle gender-based violence. We all considered it an excellent example of how research associated to public engagement really can drive change in society. The winner is Personal and Political, Joining the Dots on Gender-Based Violence by Professor Orla Muldoon of the University of Limerick in Ireland. Orla.
Orla, many congratulations. I think we'd all like to hear in your words a very short overview of the aims and outcomes of your project, which I know the context is quite marking, and the context is the murder of a young woman, an Irish woman, when she was out running, which caused widespread shock and anger in the country. And perhaps you could give some insights from the research that contributed to the national debate following this tragic event.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier about, being ready and when an opportunity arose. And I had previously written about the risks women faced when they ran, because I run a lot. And when it happened, there was a lot of people very upset. So I wrote something very quickly for a national newspaper. And I think because of the feeling in the country, and there had been a previous case in the UK, it just took off, and I leaned into it. And we were already doing the research, so it's a terrible thing to say it was an opportunity when it was somebody's death, but that's pretty much what I did.
Well, but I think it's a really excellent example of how such a tragic event can lead to a change in your research into public engagement. So thank you very much. Congratulations to us all.
So we have to have a quick...
Okay, the second award will be announced by Esther Jorur, who is the head of Strategic Partnerships and International Relations at Sajtek Masaryk University in the Czech Republic. Esther, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. It's really a pleasure for me to be here and to announce the second winner. So the second project uncovered the ancient origins of Mediterranean diet, tracing its roots back to the Bronze Age and highlighting early global interconnectedness. It provided a comprehensive understanding of past food practices by integrating archaeological research with advanced scientific analysis. This project stands out due to its comprehensive and highly effective outreach strategy, reaching global audiences. One of its unique strengths was its capacity to integrate research results into many formats that appeal to different audiences, successfully combining traditional and digital media. The team's ability to secure additional funding for public engagement activities demonstrates the project's strong appeal and impact. The winner is Fast Food Project from Lab to Edutainment, led by Professor Philipp Stockhammer from LMU Munich in Germany.
Philip, many congratulations. You asked me twice during the day whether you should stay because you had an early flight. I think it was worth staying. But perhaps you could give us all a one-minute summary of the aims and achievements of your project. And I was particularly interested in your work with filmmakers and artists. Yeah. And maybe give some of your recommendations involving artists and filmmakers in your work.
I should say that I think for me, working with the public is at the very depth of my heart. This really makes me so happy. Sorry for being so emotional, but this makes me really happy to work with people, and that's why, and especially with children, that's why I created a computer game in order to reach those audiences that would not go to a museum, that wouldn't reach the newspaper, you know, but that learn by playing, you know, they learn by watching documentaries on TV. And I think working with artists, working with journalists, with filmmakers is something that is, it's not only inspiring for the audience, but it's also inspiring for me, and it's just also a lot of fun. And I can just tell everybody, don't be shy, just work with those people and you will experience so many insights and so much inspiration, and I'm just so grateful for having the possibility to do this.
Philip, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Here. Super. Yeah, come. Somebody has to turn this mic off. Anyway, hope you catch your flight.
Yeah, thank you.
The third award will also be announced by Esther. So Esther, the floor is yours again.
Yeah, so not all jury members could come, so they allow me to announce two. So the third project is a very interesting interdisciplinary initiative that was designed to collaboratively create an engaging and interactive online resource for young people with obsessive-compulsive disorder and their parents and guardians. The aim was to share knowledge about brain and OCD and to demystify this disorder. The jury decided to award this prize because this project identified a critical gap and co-created solutions in a series of creative workshops involving researchers, OCD patients, and their caregivers. This process broke down the hierarchical barriers between researchers and the OCD community, producing much-needed resources that are accessible and relevant to both OCD patients and adults. This collaboration positively influenced the relevance and future direction of the OCD research. And the prize goes to OCD Brain, led by Professor Tobias Hauser from the University of Tübingen in Germany.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, unfortunately, the winner, Tobias Hauser, unless I'm mistaken, is not in the audience with us this evening. So, Tobias, I hope you're watching us on YouTube. Many, many congratulations from us all here. And we'll be in touch very shortly with your prize and to deliver the certificate. But if I could ask that everyone in the room could give an extra loud round of applause for Tobias and his work. And now for the fourth award. And for this, I'd like to invite jury member Natalia Schicha to announce the winner. Natalia is the founder of ProScience, a science communication agency. Natalia, the floor is yours.
Good evening. So this project succeeded in modifying consumers' habits through both efficient policymaking and social campaigns. It is an illustration of the power of science, equipped with effective communication solutions. It managed to increase public awareness of food additives and their impact on the prevention of chronic diseases. It empowered entire social groups to make more informed daily nutritional choices. The jury was impressed by the transformative capacity of this project. Its message resonated with millions across Europe, and it did so with maximum impact. The team reached accurately selected target audiences: the general public, journalists, healthcare professionals, and public health authorities. To that end, an impressive multi-channel approach was designed and then diligently executed. The winner is Add Impact, Health Impact of Industrial Foods and Food Additives by Professor Mathilde Touvier from the French National Institute for Health and Medical Research, France. Mathilde, welcome to the stage.
Congratulations. Mathilde, many congratulations. And I think everyone in the audience would like to hear, in your words, a brief flavor of the work which you undertook and how you made the subject appealing to young audiences, including school children.
Yes, so the easy part is that we deal with a subject that is everyday life. We deal with what we should eat to be in good health. And so food additives are these 300 substances that we eat every day. And so indeed, we engage with the public, with children, starting with 6 years old. And I was very impressed with them. I explained my research, and they had, for instance, to model it with Legos. And they created a supermarket with the Nutri-Score logo that we created in our lab. And they really bring the information home with them and modified their behaviors. And so it's one example of the other actions that we made with this project. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations. Many congratulations. So we're now coming to the fifth and the penultimate award. And for this, I'd like to invite jury member Marcin Witkowski, who is Secretary General of the European Association of Communication Professionals in Higher Education. And he will come to the stage to announce the award. Marcin, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Martin. Good evening, Madam President, and good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for making me a part of this glorious evening. Ladies and gentlemen, dear everyone, when a crisis hits, families are always deeply affected. From COVID-19 pandemic to war in Ukraine and floods in Pakistan, parents are always caring for their children under conditions of often extreme distress. The project I have the honor of presenting led to an unprecedented reach of parenting support materials for families in various life-threatening crises, in cooperation with over 240 non-governmental organizations, including the United Nations, UNICEF, World Health Organization, and 33 governments which adopted these resources in their own national emergency responses. The project reached over 210 million people worldwide, including Ukraine, Turkey, Syria, Palestine, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Israel, and Sudan. It's a true measure of success in reaching the target audience. The scientists went strategically far beyond the average public perception of what can be done to help families in distress, providing resources and support in numerous ways and numerous languages. Strong and tangible lessons can easily be drawn, as well as inspirations, from this very project worldwide. The results are not only extremely useful, but also universally applicable, and they prove that public engagement partners can be trusted to maintain the integrity of scientifically grounded materials. I'm pleased to announce that the 2024 ERC Public Engagement and Research Award goes to Professor Lucy Kluwer and her team from Oxford University, United Kingdom, for the project Parent Power. Congratulations.
Lucy, many congratulations. I got a flavor of your research, and I happened to have to be sitting next to you when we were having our lunch today. But I think everyone would welcome hearing in your words some elements of your research, and particularly how you managed to mobilize UN agencies, governments, and citizen-led groups, despite the challenges of COVID and other challenges that we were facing.
Well, thank you. I think the main thanks, though, goes to the ERC, because we called our project officer in a panic in the midst of a beginning of an epidemic, a pandemic, and said, we think we need to do something. We don't know what it is yet. Can we drop everything else and change all our plans? And the answer came back, yes. And none of this would have been possible without that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. And so we're ready now to announce the sixth and the final award. And this will be announced by jury member Marta Santos, who's the head of communication at ITQB Nova in Lisbon. Marta, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Maria. Good evening, everyone. Imagine a small island to which scientists come to build a research station. But they do not stop there. They take the responsibility of listening to and involving the local community. Well, you do not have to imagine it. In Inishmaan, the least populous of the Aran Islands in the west coast of Ireland, with approximately 200 inhabitants, this project led to the establishment of a fully equipped research station to study ocean waves that is embedded in the community, with respect and sensitivity for the islanders, involving them in the workings of the station and the knowledge it produces. The jury was impressed with the strong involvement and the interaction between the project team and the local community. And in particular, the involvement of the team with the local school was far beyond expectations. Students visited the station and the researchers supported them in projects for science competitions. All of this, strong evidence of how the project adapted to the community and inspired the islanders. And last but not least, the winner is... Project ERS, Aran Islands Research Station by Professor Frédéric Dias of the École Normale Supérieure Paris-Saclay, France.
Frederick, many congratulations. Could you provide us with a brief flavor of your research and how you took account of local knowledge of the islanders to inform your research?
Well, the research is on ocean waves, on extreme ocean waves, on wave breaking. And so this island on the west side of Ireland was the perfect location to set up the station. So we've been doing experiments on the islands, and of course with the support of the local community, and as was mentioned, by the support of the local school. So I would say that one of the most amazing things was to see the interest of the kids in the school. And you said, 200 people on the island, it's even less year-round, but there are 40 kids in the school, and all of them, got excited by the project. And now, I heard that all of them want to become engineer,
That's good.
And but also within my own team, you know, the younger researchers really like the way that of our approach, and they said that, you know, later if they become scientists, you know, they will do similar things.
Many congratulations. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have the 6 winners of the 2024 Public Engagement in Research Award. Please join me in congratulating them all again. And speaking to the winners and to all of the applicants, we hope that your public engagement activities will inspire other researchers and lead to engagement with new audiences across Europe and across the world. I'd like to thank all the ERC grantees who took part in the competition. As we've said many times, whilst we could only select 6 winners, we were amazed by your wonderful ideas, your efforts, your dedication, and your hard work. And these have been recognized widely by the jury members and also by the communities that you work with. And we'd like to encourage you all to continue in sharing your passion for research and public engagement. So thank you to all of the applicants, and maybe we can give a final round of applause to all of them. And I hope that all of you joining us here in Brussels or joining us online have enjoyed this ceremony and getting an insight into the outstanding public engagement activities that ERC grantees are undertaking. I'd like to thank you all for joining us. I'd like to thank Luke O'Neill and Emma Osborne for their insights and guidance, to our President Maria Leptin and to all of the jury members. I'd like you all to visit our website, where in the coming weeks you'll find more information on the work of the award winners that you've seen on stage. We'd also welcome you to share your comments and your experience on social media using the hashtag ERCEngage. And with that, I'd like to wish you all a very good evening. At the same time, I'd like to invite all of the winners and Maria to join us again on stage for a group photo. But to all of you in the room and those of you online, good night and many thanks.